Advance Medical Directive, AMD. What is Advance Medical Directive? It is basically a legal document that you sign in advance to inform the doctor treating you in the event that you are terminally ill and unconscious, that you do not want any extraordinary life-sustaining treatment to be used to prolong your life. Making an AMD is a voluntary decision. It is entirely up to you whether you wish to make one. It is a criminal offence for anyone to force you to make one against your will. What is meant by terminal illness? Terminal illness refers to any incurable condition caused by injury or disease from which there is no reasonable prospect of a temporary or a permanent recovery. For such a condition, death is imminent, even if extraordinary life-sustaining measures were used. These measures will only serve to postpone the moment of death for the patient. What is meant by extraordinary life-sustaining treatment? It refers to any medical treatment which serves only to prolong the process of dying for terminally ill patients, but does not cure the illness. How does a doctor certify that one is suffering from terminal illness? 3 doctors, including the patient hospital doctors, must come together to certify a patient's terminal illness. 2 of the doctors must be specialists. If this panel of 3 doctors cannot agree, then the doctor in charge will review his diagnosis. However, if he's still of the opinion that the patient is terminally ill, the matter will be referred to the MOH. The MOH will appoint a second panel of 3 specialists. Now, the AMD cannot take effect if this second panel also cannot agree that the patient is terminally ill. So, the patient's life will continue to be sustained and he will receive medical treatment as normal. How to make an AMD? Now, making an AMD, anyone who is 21 years old and above and of sound mind can make an AMD. The AMD form is included at the back of the AMD booklet, which you can get from hospitals, polyclinics, even from your family doctors. You can also ask a doctor for the form if you intend to do one. Alternatively, you can download the form online from this particular website. When you're making an AMD, 2 witnesses must be present. One of the witnesses must be a doctor. The doctor whom you consult will act as a first witness, and he or her responsibility is to ensure that you are not being forced into making the AMD. You are of sound mind, you understand the nature and implications of making an AMD. The other witness must be at least 21 years old and of sound mind. Both witnesses must not have any vested interest in the patient's death. How much does it cost to make an AMD? Now, as I mentioned earlier, to make an AMD, you have to consult a doctor, and the doctor will act as your first witness. So you may have to pay the doctor for the services rendered. And by the way, the AMD form itself is free of charge. Now, after we have done the AMD, what happens after the AMD is being made? Now, you're not required to disclose that you have made an AMD to anyone, but we strongly encourage you to inform your family members that you have made an AMD. Now, in the event that you're hospitalized, Hospital staff, including doctors and nurses, are not allowed to ask you if you have made an AMD. However, if your doctor attending to you has reasons to believe that you are terminally ill and unable to make your wishes known to him, he can check with the registrar of AMDs on whether you have made an AMD or not. And after the AMD is taken into effect, the doctor will continue to provide palliative care to you. And that includes the provision of reasonable medical procedures to relieve your pain, suffering, or discomfort, and also to provide food and water. Now, can your family members overrule or object to your AMD? Now, no one can actually make an AMD on behalf of another person. And if you have made an AMD, regardless of the objections from your family members, the doctors will have to respect your AMD. If you change your mind about AMD, can you revote it? The answer is yes. You can revote it at any time in the presence of at least one witness. And you can by filling in Form 3. That is, you can actually get a form from the MOH, or actually you write a letter to the registrar of AMD. Thank you for your attention.